day 3 of the new year for me. Good to see you here. We've got Don joining us, Grant Marsden here, thank you. So we're going to be covering a bit of ground here today. I guess my main objective for today is to kind of talk about some core fundamental stuff for your business. Going to talk about things that you want to consider purely from a client generation perspective. The idea is to go and get some clients now. That's the deal. Rajesh, good to see you here. I guess the more you understand how businesses work and how your business should be working, whether you're providing a service or you're consulting or you're an agency or you've got a skill set you're sharing. G'day Kendall, how you doing? Good to see you here. You're sharing a skill set in the market. You kind of need to follow the principles or the structure that I'm going to be sharing with you. So there are key areas that you need to be focusing on. There's a couple of different ways to look at this, and I've chosen to break it down into a pretty simple 5-step formula. And then I'm going to show you, I guess, another way, same thing, but one that more importantly focuses on the revenue that you generate from your clients as part of the structure. So those of you, welcome, who are joining me live here in Zoom. If you're in the Consulting Unleashed Facebook group, there's a Zoom link with a password. You can join me on Zoom. I can answer your questions. We can interact personally. For those of you joining on Facebook, g'day on Facebook. If you're joining on YouTube, g'day on YouTube. We're going live in a couple of Facebook groups here. I guess really I wanted to kind of talk about those core fundamentals, and ultimately we're all trying to generate clients. Ultimately, that's what we're trying to do. We want to bring clients on board. And I think the biggest thing that I think is lacking in most people's businesses when it comes to growing is where their focus is, right? That's probably one of the biggest things. Where your focus is going to determine how well you do. So if you're not actively engaging in customers every single day, then you're not going to actually generate sales consistently. You're going to have a lot of inconsistency in your sales process if you aren't actively engaging every single day with a prospective market. If you don't put an offer out there every single day, nobody can engage, nobody can respond. You can't even share if you're not offering every day. So that's a real key thing. And I see that's number one. Number one focus in business has been a big challenge for a lot of people in terms of being able to scale, being able to grow, is where is the attention? Where is the attention? And I think one of the things through, I guess, thousands of conversations with people who are running businesses and agencies. G'day, John, good to see you here. People who are running businesses and agencies around the world. One thing that keeps coming up, and this generally tends to happen to people in the early stages of their business, even people trying to transition and pivot, is the fear of being able to deliver a result. The fear of the fact that somebody's paying you money, right? And so now you have to actually deliver on the promise that you actually make them, and you don't have the confidence to deliver on that promise. For whatever reason, there is some lack of confidence in being able to share what you do, right? Like, you like what you do, you know that you can do this, you know that people can get results from what you do, but for some reason there is this little fear in the background. What if it doesn't actually work? And the client's paid me money, I've let the client down, so now I've either got to give the client back their money or I've got to fix the problem. And therein lies the issue. You have to fix the problem. You're going to fix it. You're not going to sit there and leave the client floundering, right? You're going to fix it. Like one of our Clients Unleashed members, Dano, had a client. He made a promise to that client. Things didn't go right. Things went pear-shaped. Dano then focused on what he needed to do to rectify that problem, got things back on track. Client was super happy, right? He was communicative with the client, made it work, and generated the outcome for the client. So one of the things that we've got to be mindful of, g'day Faisal, good to see you here. One of the things we've got to be mindful of is that fear of not being able to deliver right? If that's what's stopping you, then you've got to get really, really simply clear about either you're going to do the work to get the process. So what has to happen to make the result work? That's what you just need to understand. If you understand the framework, then you understand what the process is to get to the outcome, right? If you don't understand the framework, then you can't do that. You can't do what you're offering, right? Now, the other thing is that people, in terms of the fundamentals of business, is you don't have to do the delivery. You don't have to do, in today's world, you can hire people to deliver for you, right? You can hire people to do all the delivery for you in the market. Yeah. And those people are very competent, and those people have got skills, and those people have the ability because they've been able to deliver for other people in the market. So you can outsource. The outsourcing arbitrage is not a new thing. Globalization and arbitrage for services is not brand new. You just have to understand the framework or the fundamental of how you take a client from where they are to where they're going to be in relation to the promise that you make. So if you have a fear in delivery, then you're going to have a fear, you're going to have a very poor offer to the market. G'day, Randy. How you doing? Good to see you here. Welcome, Randy. You're going to have a very poor offer that you're going to make to the market. If you're not super clear about how you're going to deliver that result, then the offer that you make is going to be very poor because there's no confidence in the delivery, right? So that way, so then if we're not really confident with that offer and that delivery, then we're actually going to not offer that to the market. We're actually going to look for every other excuse not to go to the market and share what we have to do, what we have. There's an opportunity to solve people's problems. And that therein lies the biggest challenge in the agency, the marketing, the coaching, the consulting world. The fear of the result, the fear of being able to actually deliver on your promise. That is the fear. And if that's the fear, that stops everybody and everything. Right? Because there's always a new funnel. There's always a new way to do SEO. There's always new, Facebook breaks all the time. What happens if my client's ad account shuts down? I had a person who had they had more than 100 Facebook ad accounts, and 20 of those accounts were shut down. And so 20 clients that were paying the money every month for Facebook advertising, well, what did they do? They had to fix that problem, right? They had to solve that problem for the client, right? And that's what they did. They solved the problem. Right? They didn't lose 20 accounts because 20 accounts shut down. They figured it out and worked their way through. And this is what most people don't do, as they don't figure it out. They panic, right? And that's why we go from one bright and shiny object to another bright and shiny object to another bright and shiny object. And so the number one thing, if I was to say to anybody for 2021, is focus. Focus on the most important things that are going to make the impact that you want to make in your business. Focus on the things that must be done. They are must, they're non-negotiables, right? Non-negotiable, you've got to be generating leads. Non-negotiable, you've got to be building relationships. Non-negotiable, you actually have to formulate a sales process that converts and helps clients to decide that you're the person they want to hire. Non-negotiable, you've got to deliver a result, either a great one or an outstanding one. They're the only two results you can deliver. You can't deliver a crappy result, right? You've either got to be a great result or an outstanding one. Otherwise, people will go, there's got to be something else, right? And then a non-negotiable is you've got to retain to keep your clients paying forevermore as part of that process, right? So if 2021 is anything, and if we look at what happened over the pandemic, how distracting the news is, like stop watching the news. The news is poison. It's sound bites of bullshit that's driving an agenda. The news's agenda, the number one agenda for the news is to make you scared. That's the number one primary agenda. Trust us, be scared. That's what the news is telling you. Trust us, but be scared, right? If you want to be scared and you think that's the place you want to come from to build something or create something, it ain't going to work. Right? I've seen people change their behavior this year because they've been watching the news. I've seen people literally change their demeanor and how they communicate with people and what they're thinking about and even what they're talking about completely change who their personality is, because all they're doing is consuming news, right? And the news is the same thing every day. 20 times a day. Like if you watch CNN or if you watch Fox or whatever news service you watch, there's a ticker tape that goes on the bottom of the screen. If you look at the American news service, it happens in Australia, I know it happens in Europe and all over. So they have this ticker tape and there's this constant stream and it just says the same 5 to 10 messages over and over and over and over again, all day long, 24/7, right? So that will distract you. Focusing on the things you have no control over, focusing on other people's agendas. Don't worry about the news. People will tell you about the news. People will tell you what's going on. You'll find other sources that will deliver the news to you. You won't miss out on anything, but just stop watching the news. That is a poison on our brain, right? That's a poison on our brain. And we don't need it, right? So the focus thing is really key. What you focus on most becomes critical in what you're doing. So there are core fundamentals that you need to have an impact on in growing your business. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some key areas that I want to focus on. I'm going to share a couple of different models for you to consider, and then I'm more than happy to answer questions at the end of this presentation. So first of all, thank you for being here with me on your weekend, wherever you are in the world. I know it's my Sunday, it's Saturday in the US. So I really appreciate you hanging with me on this live. So let's get into the core stuff, right? Let's get into the real meat and potatoes. So the number one core function for your business is your ability to generate leads, right? So if we said to ourselves, and we've got a blank sheet of paper, right? The number one thing that we need to have, or a core function, is we need to consistently be able to generate leads every day, right? Not once a week, not every other day, not 3 times, 2 times a week. Every single day, you should have the ability to generate leads every day. You are open for business. Online is 24/7, 365 days of the year. You should have the capability to be able to generate leads every single day, right? That's number one. So how do we go about generating leads? So if we had our sheet of paper and we just wrote that word leads, right? Where are we going to get them from, right? Let's look at it. We look at our familiar list. But the easiest way to get clients is through your familiar list and referrals. Referrals from people you know, referrals who are familiar to you. Those are the 2 fastest ways I know that you can pick up customers right now, right? Familiar list, referrals. Those are the 2 ways. The third thing is cold outreach, cold email, right? Direct messaging, right? That sort of stuff. Cold outreach, very popular. The reason it's very popular is because it's very inexpensive. And also the scaredy cats in the world who are really afraid to be able to connect with new people, who poo their pants every time they have to talk to a human being. Cold email and cold outreach seems safe. You're safe because the last thing you want to happen is somebody to say no to you, right? So cold outreach is safe. But it's a methodology to generate leads. If you're consistently engaging 15, 20 people every single day, you're going to generate sales. If you're consistently opening the door, putting an offer out, building relationships, 15 to 20 people a day, you're going to generate client opportunities, right? You're going to generate leads or people who are interested in what you have to offer. You can go to curated lists. You can go to directories. Where is your lead generation and what is the engagement in that lead generation, right? How are you engaging those leads, right? Phone, pick up the phone direct. People do that all the time. Appointment setters, setting appointments every day, right? LinkedIn, the biggest business database on the planet. Yesterday or the day before, or yesterday, I shared a strategy, a process on how you can extract high quality leads from LinkedIn without having to go through the process of engaging, connecting on LinkedIn, where you can zero in on a target audience that is the right size, the decision maker, the location, the niche, and the fact that they're interested in acquiring customers. That was actually shared on the live that I did yesterday, exactly how to do that. So you can actually go direct. You don't need to actually engage, right, through the LinkedIn process of the relationship. You can actually actively go direct and pick up the email, right? So we've got LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a very powerful source. If I was, I would highly encourage you to actually sign up for Sales Navigator, because that allows you, at least you can do hundreds of outreaches every single month right? And filtering for people who are going to interested in making appointments with you just on LinkedIn, right? Using Sales Navigator, very powerful tool if you use it correctly. It's really powerful in actually really zeroing targeting it. LinkedIn's cool. Facebook, very powerful lead generation tool, right? There's lots of Facebook groups, there's lots of LinkedIn groups, there's lots of forums online where people are asking questions about your services. There's a thing called Google Alerts. You can go to Google Alerts and you can type in questions about and whatever question you want. Anytime somebody asks a question, it'll give you an alert. You can actually look at things like Quora, Whirlpool. There's so many different forums. And then here's the cool thing. Every industry has its own forums. Every industry has its own forums, right? There are people constantly asking questions about needing help. So there's no shortage of leads. The question you have to answer yourself is, what is the methodology that you're going to do to acquire the leads? And what is your methodology to actually actively, consistently engage the leads, right? Something that we're working on in Clients Unleashed, making it on, putting on autopilot. So you're having 20 conversations, 20 interactions every single day with people who've accepted, right, your connection, your friendship, accepted you to go, yeah, we can chat now. We're on the same page, right? And you can target that audience. But you want to be doing that consistently. So what are you doing lead-wise? You've got a sheet in front of you, make a choice, right? Hey, I need, if I can engage 10, 15 people a day out of 10 or 15 people, I might get one conversation. The goal I'm trying to get to get to one conversation per day. If I have one conversation per day, 20 conversations in a given month, I'm going to close 3 to 5 clients every single month. Now, it might take you 4 to 5 weeks to build up the speed and the cadence to get to one conversation per day. Now, 4 to 5 weeks is not very long, right? So within 2 months, you should be able to generate 5 to 6 clients within a 2-month period, right? Not hard to do if you focus on that one aspect of that consistency. Get your offer out there, ask questions, solve the problem, right? Hey, I'm seeing this is a problem, love to get your feedback. Is this a problem for you? Would you like me to give you something that'll help you with that problem? Simple offers, right? Simple offers to the marketplace. The 9-word email. Are you interested in blank? Are you interested in Facebook advertising? Are you interested in Google Ads? Are you interested in lead management? Are you interested in automating your sales process? Are you interested in sales funnels that make automatic sales conversions online? Are you interested? Simple outreach, right? So lead generation, critical, very critical to growing your business, right? The next thing that's critical to growing your business is your ability to nurture relationships. The biggest problem that most businesses make, or the biggest mistake that a lot of businesses make in the marketplace, and this is a huge one, right, is they generate leads, but then they just let them go. Like they try and communicate or engage once, and then nothing else, right? Or they might send one sequence of emails and then they let the lead go. And it's like, well, that didn't work. Nobody responded. That was a bad lead, and let it go, right? And yet they've spent money and time and energy acquiring and building this list, right? This lead list. They've spent money, time, and energy building a lead list. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't respond or jump or become friends with anybody, right? Unless I get to know them a little bit better, unless I see them around, unless they become more visible to me, right? So when people become more visible and I see them around and they're perhaps adding some value, asking some questions, then I'm perhaps, if they reach out and ask a direct question, I may say, yeah, I'll go to that. I'll respond. Yes, let's do that. So we're expecting to communicate with a complete stranger with a Hail Mary on the first interaction. And so that isn't going to happen. Like for that to work, you just got to be lucky, right? That's luck for that to work. And luck isn't a great business model. Last time I checked, being lucky isn't a great business model. So you have to create your luck. And creating luck means adding value, educating, nurturing, asking questions, getting feedback, encouraging the interaction, building that relationship. I generally find, and this is what I'm saying, that a prospect in the marketplace has to interact with at least 3 to 5 pieces of your information before they take the next step of, hey, maybe you got something to offer. 3 to 5 interactions. So that might be 3 videos or 5 videos. That might be 3 lead magnets or 5 lead magnets. That might be posts. That might be like, what are the little nurturing pieces you can provide, right? That might be some resources you provide, but 3 to 5 interactions on average to feel comfortable if you're making an offer that they're going to respond to that offer. So if we were looking at the component, because nurturing your leads is really, really important, right? If we were looking at that as a fundamental function or core function of our business, what strategy do you have in place to continue to engage? So if you think about what you do, remember that whole idea of you delivering what you do to the market, right? Well, what are the problems that people are facing in that delivery? What are the gaps that you can actually speak to that perhaps you can help with within the market? You know, there's a friend of mine, Kevin Hutto, who's a super Facebook guru. This guy runs multi-million-dollar campaigns. Like he's not your average Facebook guy. Been in the game a long time, works with some of the biggest marketers on the planet. And so he had this concept of what he calls the Hydra, right? And a Hydra is every time, so if anybody thinks, if you remember Greek mythology, Hydra was that multi-headed dragon that if you chop off the head, 2 more heads would grow. You keep chopping off the heads, it just keeps growing, multiplying. So you had this concept of the Hydra. And the way that concept or that strategy worked was that there were, if you were able to speak to 7 problems that your market has, so 7 things that are going on that are real to the market, right? So you would create 7 videos, short videos, don't have to be long. They could be 1 minute, 3 minute, punchy. Here's the problem. Hey, if the problem keeps going, this is going to get worse. Here's how you solve the problem. This is what our idea is, right? So they look at the problem. And then this was a retargeting campaign. So below, once people watched that first video, the retargeting opened up 2 more videos. So the 2 more videos was not so much about the problem. The 2 more videos talked about how your philosophy, your ideology of how you solve the problem, who you are, what you do, who you help, and how you solve that problem, right? So it would open up. And then if this is a retargeting strategy, so I'm not asking you to go do retargeting. I want you to think about the concept, right? Think about what's going on here with the content being evolved. So we go from 7 pieces to 14 pieces, right? And then from 14 pieces, we go to 28 pieces. So the 28 pieces have no direct correlation to the 14 solutions. The 28 pieces are your ideas, what you think about, things that you know, things that you've learned, philosophy, strategy, your concepts, things that perhaps you've learned, things that you've curated and garnered. So it's giving people an insight into you. It's like building a relationship with somebody through video, right? So the cool idea behind the Hydra, without using the retargeting model, but just thinking about those core people. And by the way, it doesn't have to be video. It could be an article. It could be a tool, a resource. It could be a webinar that you do. It could be anything. Like it could be, what are the pieces in the puzzle? But my question to you is, how do you nurture the lead? And you can actually go, if we get a lead, these are the things that we give this lead. We might give them a video. We might give them a checklist. We might give them a webinar. We might give them a podcast interview that we did. We might give them a case study. We might give them, something, an education, a very simple, short training, punchy, right, that you can do, right? What is the journey in the lead nurturing? And the purpose of the lead nurturing, a friend of mine, Taki, does this beautifully. He calls this the Sunday system. He calls it a Sunday system. He makes one video every Sunday. And that video speaks to a problem in the market, or it's something that he's recognized that is an issue in the market. And there's just this one video. It's really simple. It's generally anywhere. It could be a 5-minute video, it could be a 7-minute video, it could even be a 15-minute video. But it's just him talking, walking on the street. It's not set up, like there's no real setup. It's just a personable live that he does. And then what he does is he takes that video and he sticks it on a page. And below the video is, hey, if you want me to help you to grow your business, then why don't you go through our application process and we can provide you with a plan to help you scale from here to here. That's his offer. So he puts this out every week, and then he sends this out to his entire list every week. And guess what happens? He gets appointments every week, right? Because he's basically highlighting an issue or a challenge or a point that's happening in his niche market. And he says, well, if you like what I've got, if you've liked what I've done at the end of every video, if you've liked this and perhaps you're looking to grow, then a lot of people are looking to grow. The next step that they do is they just they just go and apply for this, right? And it's just a landing page. And then it's just an email that he sends out to all his leads. And then he's in Facebook groups and stuff like that. He says, hey, I made this video. If you want the video, just go to this link, right? I made this video. If you go to this link, there you go. And he sends people to the link, and he gets appointments and applications every week, right? Without fail, fills his calendar, right? So how do you nurture your leads? Lead nurture as a core fundamental function of your business. You're generating leads. What do you want those leads to see? What do you want those leads to see? What do you want to do to add value to those leads? And ultimately, the whole purpose of the nurturing process is to get them to sit down and say, all right, I need to fix this problem. I'm interested. Let's make an appointment. Let's see what you got, right? To get them to a qualifying connected process. That's the second piece in the puzzle, is that lead nurture piece. So the question, if you're looking at a blank sheet of paper, what is your lead nurture sequence? What are you doing to nurture your leads, to provide that value, to, maybe you're doing some posting, maybe you're doing some, putting a cheat sheet together. Maybe you found a cheat sheet and you say, hey, I found this really cool cheat sheet. Do you want it? Would you like it? I'm more than happy to give you the cheat sheet. It doesn't have to be your own stuff. It's the fact that you can actually curate and provide value to the market. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? And Google is your friend. You can find all the solutions, people say, how do you find the best offers? Google the best offers for what industry you're in. Just say, hey, I put this sheet together of the 3 best offers in this market. Do you want it? And it starts the conversation. Hey, what do you think about that? Love to get some feedback on the offers. Hey, did you apply the offers? Just wanted to know you downloaded, you requested it. I shot it over to you. Have you run the offers? By the way, if you haven't run the offers, would you like me to optimize a campaign where we can incorporate those offers for you to the market? Yes or no, right? And slowly, you're entering into a conversation with a prospective lead into an appointment. So we're building up that relationship. We're building the know, like, and trust. Lead nurture is a very key core function of your business, right? So the next area that we want to focus on is our sales conversion. So we've got the ability to go and get leads. And there's not a single person that I've ever sat on a webinar that can't get a lead. Right? If you haven't got a familiar list, if you're not in social media groups, if you don't have any friends, right? I feel sorry for you. I really feel sorry for you. But if you're in this game, you do have some people you go to in the market, right? If you're in this game, you know that you go to people in this market. So we've got the lead bit right. We've got the lead nurture bit right. So now we're going to look at our sales conversion. Right? Number one thing, if you want to generate great sales, you've got to have the ability to manage those relationships. And the number one thing that I would have is to have some form of customer relationship management, someplace. A lot of people use a spreadsheet, right? Spreadsheets become messy, but CRMs are easy. Easiest CRM, it's free. It's called Streak for Gmail. If you've got a Gmail account, you can just go Streak, just type in Streak for Gmail. It's free. It just attaches to your Gmail account. And you can actually have a CRM working in Gmail in your email. So your customers, your leads can be managed, nurtured, the sales process can be built out. In fact, Streak allows you to map out your sales process, right? So there's 2 things you can map out. 1, sales process, and 2, your journey or the buyer's journey and how you match that up with your sales process, right? So you can say this is what happens, right? So in your sales conversion, part of that is you've got to have a qualification process, right? Are we talking to the right people? Do they have the money? Can we get them the result they're looking for? Are we speaking to the right problem, right? Have we built a bit of know, like, and trust in that sales process? But then what we need to do is we actually need to map out our sales process. We map out from the time somebody inquires to what's the next step, and then what's the next step, and then what's the next step. So we can map it out, because if we can see it, we can literally guide our sales opportunities through that process. And if we've mapped it out, the cool thing about it is we can make adjustments along the way. We can improve those processes, right? That's the whole idea. You're always going to be improving, right? With sales conversion, numbers become critical, right? So I often say to people, until you've done 100 presentations, you're really not an expert in what you do, right? until you've done 100 presentations of presenting the same thing over and over again 100 times, right? If you were able to do that, you would have, your worst case scenario, you'd have 10 clients, right? That would be your worst case scenario, 10 clients. Because as you're delivering your presentation, you're going to get better and better and better. You're going to make adjustments along the way. You're going to listen to the feedback that you're getting from your clients, and you're going to make those adjustments along the way. Yeah. So the key here is, what does that look like? You need to map that out. Right? How are you going to deliver that? What are the conversations? What are the objections that you're going to have to handle? Know each objection, know what you're going to say to handle each objection. Yesterday, we covered several ways in which we can eliminate objections right up front, so that when we're talking to someone, we're talking to a highly qualified lead and prospect in our business, right? So today, same thing, right? What are the core things where what are the qualifiers? What do you need to know? So one of the things, for example, with one of our agencies that is in the physical therapy market, we would sit down and the qualifier was, so here are the qualifiers. One, they had to have 3 or more physical therapists in treatment in that practice, 3 or more, not 1, not 2, 3 or more. If they only had 2, not qualified. We want to talk to a 2-person practice. 3 or more, right? 3 or more, yeah? They had to have 600 patient visits per month. If they didn't have 600 patient visits per month, we wouldn't talk to them. Sorry, you don't qualify. You don't have 600, you're not big enough. You don't have the scale. You're not functioning as a business model, or the business that we like to work with, that we get the best results with. We can't work with you. If you do 500 visits a month, can't work with you. Right? 600 visits per month. So qualifier, 3 or more, 600 visits per month. Revenue must be 2 to 3 million minimum. That's the minimum. Anything under 2 million, can't help you. If you are $1,900,000, can't help you. Bow, you don't make it, you don't make the cut, right? So there are indicators, qualifiers. So if they qualify, then we go, great, well, we know we can help you. We can help you because we know that you're operating at a level that where if you bring in our lead gen and bring in our lead management system, we can actually help you scale your practice, right? So what are your qualifications for being able to deliver the best possible result for the clients that you work with? Who qualifies, right? That's important because that's going to improve your ability to convert, right? So these are critical numbers that you've got to get to. If you get to these numbers, then you can scale sales. So what do I mean by scaling sales? So remember, if you've looked at the past trainings that I've done, there are 3 levels of a business, right? First level, get to 10K per month net. That means 15 to 20K revenue per month, right? Consistency. That's the mindset level. The next level to go to $1 million to $84,000 in monthly recurring revenue that's 27 clients at $3,000 a month. That's all about sales and marketing. That's dialing in your sales and marketing to build that scale, right? And then from $1 million to 5 million or million on, then you become a leader. So you change from a sales and marketing person to a person that is developing their business. You're developing teams to scale even further, right? So in that second category, when you reach around the 30 grand mark, 30 to 50 grand, you'll have a pretty good idea of some numbers. So the numbers that I'm looking at is, if I can get 100 leads, what happens to 100 leads? Out of 100 leads, how many appointments do I make? Of those appointments, how many of them qualify? And of those that qualify, how many buy, right? So that's what I've got to look at. So these are numbers I like to get to. 100 leads, 30 conversations. Out of 30 conversations, 15 qualified. Out of 15 qualified, worst case scenario, 5 clients. 5 clients out of every 100 leads. That's what I'm after, right? 5% from leads, not the conversion gets better as it gets tighter, right? So now if I know those numbers, now that means my sales process is consistent. So now I can take my sales process and hire a salesperson to do what I do to scale. That's the fastest path to growth, is scale your sales. So the first thing you can do to scale your sales is hire an appointment setter that fills your calendar. That's the easiest thing. That way you don't have to worry about the lead gen thing. You've got the appointment thing down pat, right? Done for you. That's easy. So if somebody's out there making 10, 15 appointments a week for you, then you're going to generate 3 clients a week, right? You're going to generate 3 clients a week, 1 to 3 clients easily a week. That's huge. That's a game changer. For some people, that's scary. How the hell am I going to handle 3 or 4, 1 to 3 clients, right? Every week. Before you know it, I'm going to be at capacity. Wouldn't that be horrible? You're going to all this money to go and hire people to help you with your capacity. That'd be terrible, right? Okay. So sales conversion, you need to map out your sales process. What is your sales process, right? Have your agreements and your contracts ready. Have your pitch and presentation ready. 80% of your presentation should be done. The only 20% that you make an adjustment on is the personalization for the client you're talking to. So you have it set up, all done, ready to go. One of the things we do, like people in Clients Unleashed or in our programs, I give them the pitch decks and presentations. They're done. All you got to do is plug your story into those presentation decks, right? In that process. So understand that if you have your bits and pieces, it's going to make it easier and faster to convert. One of the things that we try and teach is to actually close the sale in the call, not let me send you an invoice, let me send you an agreement, and then we've got to wait for the agreement to come back. We've got to wait for the invoice to be paid, right? You don't need to do that. You can invoice the client immediately, instantly. There's plenty of things you can do to get this client to sign on the spot. You can walk people through like PandaDocs or DocuSign or HelloDocs, where you can do your presentation, lay it out in the presentation whilst the client's there looking with you, and then you say, right, there's an email in your inbox. Just open up. You're looking exactly the same thing I'm looking at. Now, if you click that box there, that means you've accepted my agreement. Thank you. Right? We're working together. You make it easy for them to sign up. Right? Don't like, I've got to send you this and I've got to send you that. That slows or minimizes your conversion. Make it easy for people to sign on the spot, right? I have people, I've worked with people and coached with people where I've sat there and said, listen, you're in the conversation, just take them to the buy now page straight away. What do they need to know? You've explained everything that's in your process and the service you've offered. You've walked them through, they've agreed, then take them to a buy now page, right? Okay, great. I'm just going to put your name and the address of your company name. Great, awesome, thank you. And your credit card, is that available? Visa, great. And put the numbers in, expiry, great, CSV. Hit submit, right? It gets approved. The client immediately gets an invoice saying, hey, you've bought into this program. Thank you very much for coming. They're on board. Have your processes in your sales conversion really, really important. So things important in sales conversion: qualifying your leads effectively, looking at the buyer's journey. How does a buyer buy? What are they going to go through? What are the ideal clients? What's your qualifying process? Like, how do you qualify them? You can qualify them automatically through automation. You can qualify them through conversation, right? How do you qualify them? What hoops do you make them jump through? Okay. Next, what's your sales process to help them buy? Once you've got them qualified and you've addressed, you understand what the objections are, if there are any objections that you need to handle, that you eliminate those right up front. And then you can walk them through and say, right, I've got the money. They need to do this thing right now. They're ready to go. So the next thing is, let's implement the plan that we put in front of you, the presentation, right? These things will dramatically improve your sales conversions in terms of what you're doing, right? So that's sales conversion. So that lead gen, really important. Lead nurture, build a relationship. Don't burn your leads, right? I used to make this joke. It's like somebody say, John, how the hell do I get you to stop emailing me? It's really simple. Buy my stuff and I'll stop emailing you, right? Or how do I stop your team from calling me, John? Really easy. You become a customer, right? Buy, right? You either buy or you die. That's a friend of mine said to me, John, they're either going to buy or they're going to die, right? So you're going to nurture that, right? You're going to improve. And those that engage, you're going to spend more time with. Those that don't, every now and again, you're going to give them a prompt to try and move them into the engagement process, right? So that lead nurture is really important. Sales conversion, have your process. You have a sales process. If you don't have a sales process, that's where you come unstuck. If you go, well, what happens next? Well, I've got to get a proposal to you. So let me get that proposal to you. What do you need a proposal for? You just made a pitch, right? You just told them how much it was going to be. You don't need a proposal. You need a, let's do this thing, right? So we have the, let's get it going. Here's how you make it easy. The easier you make it for them to say yes and sign, the more likely they're going to sign. The more steps you put in, the more barriers, the more friction that you create, the harder you make it for them. The more you delay the sale, the ability to acquire the customer, the harder you make it for them, the less you're going to convert. And there are many times, and by the way, I'm putting up my hand here as well, where I've completely messed it up and had a sale on the table and lost it because I completely forgot about it, because we're waiting for documentation or we're waiting for a payment and it's just gone. And all of a sudden, a month later, you go, oh man, that guy didn't sign up, right? That guy didn't hire us to do his marketing integration, right? I've made those mistakes. And if you've got a CRM and you're using a CRM, then you won't make those mistakes, because your CRM is going to blink you every day saying, you need to get to this person, right? So sales conversion is critical, right? The next piece in the puzzle, and this is the fear part, a lot of people have this fear, and this is where all the fun stuff starts, is your ability to deliver a result for the client. That's kind of really important, because that's why they're hiring you. They're hiring you for the promise. So if you can't deliver the promise, you got a problem, right? You've got a problem if you can't deliver the promise. And so you need, in delivery, and this is a core function of your business, the best way to do this is, how are you going to onboard the client? Now, some people say, John, I don't have a system for onboarding clients. Oh, that's terrible that you don't have a system for onboarding clients. There's this little unknown website called Google, and you can type in onboarding process templates for Facebook clients, onboarding process templates for AdWords clients, onboarding process for mobile app clients, you can just type in onboarding process, it'll give you a rough guide of the steps that you need to take to onboard a client. So now you do have an onboarding process. So all you need to do is, okay, well, this is how we do that, right? If you're using a resource partner or somebody else to deliver for you, they have an onboarding process for you and for your client, right? So they've got the process to onboard the client. What's the process? So to deliver, what are we going to do, right? One of the things that I would do, if we're, especially in the agency world, one of the first things we do when we have our client management, account management person, go to when we have when we've got an agency client, the first thing they do is say, hey, before we do anything, we just want to do a bit of a survey so that we can improve our capability to be able to work with you, and so that we can deliver those results and phases in the best way possible. So can we take you through a little bit of survey of how we work together better, efficiently? That's the first step in the process. People love that, because we ask questions like, look, the last time you tried to do this, what happened? Well, it didn't work. Why didn't it work? Well, it didn't work because of these things. Okay, great. So how do you want to be communicated with? You want to be communicated by email, or you want somebody to pick up the phone and give you a buzz, or you want somebody to make an appointment with you, or you want somebody to send you a report, or do you want somebody to send you a video, or do you want somebody to show you some specific things? How do you want us to communicate? Because we want to communicate, and we're going to check in, and we're going to follow that process, right? Because we want to keep, by the way, doing this one little thing, the survey, that will help you keep clients forever, right? Because you get to know the client, you're communicating in the style they're communicating with, they know how you're delivering the result, right? That's part of an onboarding process. So what questions you need, what resources you need, what tools you need, what do you need from them? Images, copy, information, right? Sales cycle, sales process, creative, offers. What do you need? You've got to have in the delivery a very succinct onboarding process that makes it easy for you to be able to help that client. That's number one. Team. Either you're the team. If you're the team, then you're going to do this, right? But this is going to impede your ability to grow, because you're only going to be able to work between 5 and 8 clients, and then you're screwed, because then you're capped out, right? So you're going to be working really hard for very little money, right? You're going to make very little profit, very little money, but you're working, right? You're in business, you're a freelancer, which is cool, right? You need to make money. There's nothing wrong with being a freelancer. I know lots of freelancers who make 100 grand a year, but they're not happy, right? They're not happy because they're doing all the work. So what do you need to do? You need to build a team. So where you need to build a team is when you get to about 15K, 10 to 15K, right? I would even hire somebody around the 10K mark. I would hire a project management person, a project manager at that 10K mark, to do all the stuff that you need to do to fulfill for clients and delivery, right? At the 30K mark, I would hire an executive assistant, an EA. The reason why I hire an executive assistant is that person replaces you in multiple areas of your business. That person now manages you, not the other way around, right? They become part of operations. That will be a game changer. A good executive assistant knows how to build processes, systems, knows how to solve problems, knows how to take care of things so you don't have to take care of them. That's a good EA. About the 30 grand mark, I'd be hiring an EA, right? From an EA, then I'd be hiring sales, right? So I'd build my sales team, yeah, because now I don't want to be doing the sales all the time. I would encourage other people to do sales. Now, I like doing sales. Sales is my bag. I love sales. So I don't think I'll ever leave sales, right? But the majority of my sales are not made by me, right? The majority of my sales are made by a team. So when in the agency, we actually have a team. Now I don't do any of the sales, right? So I've got to a point in a particular agency, I don't do any sales at all. I have a team that follows the process and the systems we put together so we can scale, right? So as you hire, you're going to scale. And the more you hire, the bigger you grow. And also, when you hire, the faster you grow. As soon as you hire somebody, your revenue will increase because you're mindful that you're bringing on a cost in the business and you need to support that cost, right? That frees you up. That frees your time to be able to go and do the important thing, lead generation, right? Lead nurture, sales conversion, okay? So systems processes are key in delivery. IP, your intellectual property, your own framework. This allows you to productize, allows you to leverage. If you do this for a niche, then you only need one process. If you have several niches that you're working for, then you're gonna have to adapt those processes to several niches, right? You wanna build systems. Productization is the ideal scenario. That means you're able to deliver automation, the same thing over and over and over again. So in our agency, when we were working in the physical therapy space, they fill in a 20-minute form. They push the button, everything's set up. Before, we used to spend 3 hours setting everything up. Now we don't have to do anything. The client answers questions, hit submit, and the entire process is set up. All the automations, all the advertising management, everything done within one click of a button, right? That's why we can bring on 30, 40 clients at one time, right? Because we've systemized the entire process, right? So that's the ideal scenario you want to get to. But delivery, you've got to be able to deliver results. So how do you monitor? How do you measure the result, right? These are things you need to answer and have questions on. How do you report on the results? Because here's the cool thing about the delivery piece. If you've been working with a client and you've been getting a result for that client, so what you want to do is you're going to have a meeting with the client. Say, hey, you invested $5 grand in our services and we checked, you made $75,000 in sales. How do you feel about that? Does that make you feel good? Spend $5 grand with us and because of us, you made 75 grand. What if we improved? What if we actually increased your investment in us, right? Maybe opened up a new product line or did the same thing for another part of your services because that 75K just came from one product, but you've got 5 products. What if we added another $5 grand to the deal and did the same thing with product number 2, right? Repeated the thing. Are you happy to do that? Now, if they're making 75K and they've paid you 5, it's really easy to upsell them to 10K a month, right? Because even at 10K a month, they're making 75 grand, they're still in significant profit. Right. So by the delivery piece, part of your delivery is being able to assess the results, right? If you're doing, a lot of people in SEO say, how do we make it tangible? Well, if you've got your Google Analytics set up, right, you can make it very tangible. You can look at what the actions are, where the buy nows are, how many appointments were made. You can track everything from your SEO, everything, all the way to the sale. So you can say, hey, you're spending $3 grand a month on SEO. You made $30,000 in sales, right? Because we can see by tracking, here's the numbers. This is where, look at all these people. You had 150 people filling your application form. Out of that 150 people, we saw a whole bunch of people jump over the buy now page, right? How many of those people became customers? You can track results through SEO. You can make SEO very tangible, very tangible. In fact, I work with SEOs and that's what they do. I taught them how to make it tangible, right? And they generate a ton of sales because they're able to demonstrate, to show, listen, spending 10 grand with us a month, but hell, you made $150,000 from organic traffic from our SEO strategies, right? I think, what if we invested more in some other tactical things to get a better result? Yeah. So delivery is really key. That 4th element, how you deliver, your ability to deliver, and the process is critical, right? So the next piece is the part that everybody messes up with because for some reason, I don't know why, but most businesses just don't care about this, right? Is need to retain clients. I said, yes, I think I mentioned this the other day. I'm just going to take a drink here. I mentioned this the other day. I said the majority of people, right, the average client in our world lasts for about 30 days to 4 months. 4 months is about the average stay of a customer. And the reason for that is because we set it up that way, right? We set it up because we tell clients they can leave after 90 days. This is a 90-day project. In 90 days, success, don't succeed, they'll leave. You told them they can leave in 90 days. They can try something different. Or you told them they can leave after 30 days. Or you told them they can after 14 days, right? What you want to have is clients for longer. So we get caught up in this recurring model. The recurring revenue model is a great model, but having receivables is risky, right? We found that out in February of last year, that having receivables was risky, because what happened was there's a whole bunch of clients left. They panicked. The pandemic came along, lockdown, nobody came to the stores, everybody cut their advertising, boom, they were out. You went from $100,000 a month or $30,000 a month to nothing, or $5 grand or $2 grand, because half your clients panicked and they left, right? Then a week, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, they came back again. They went, oh, well, you know, we've got to get into advertising because we've got no leads, right? We stopped, you know, the very thing that they shouldn't have stopped, right, is they stopped their lead generation. So all of a sudden they go, shit, 3 weeks, it's been really quiet. I wonder why, right? I wonder why. Well, the reason why it's quiet is you stopped generating leads, right? The customers stopped buying. Were they not looking at you online? Could you deliver your product or service online? Could you pivot, right? They go, oh, we better get back to advertising. So get back to advertising, guess what happens? Customers, right? So this is what happens. But if you've got a business that's reliant heavily upon receivables, then that's what's going to happen. You're going to have moments where it's not going to work like that, right? It's all very attractive having recurring revenue. It sounds great, but all clients leave. So I like the idea of clients paying up front for everything, right? The whole shebang, the whole project. If it's $3,000 a month, pay me, it's instead of paying me $36,000, pay me $33,000, save $3,000. I'll take 33 up front, and then we're working together for a year, right? If you don't offer it, they can't buy it. So retain and reselling and upselling is critical for your business. So a big part of that is your relationship management process. So what is your process to retain clients? What is the customer service? What is the process where you survey your clients, where you engage? Do you provide things like training, consulting, all these things are things that customers can buy? You don't have to just sell your thing. You might say, hey, I know people who do Facebook management for clients, but they also do Facebook training for their clients, right? They do conversion training for their clients, right? They still manage the Facebook ad account, but they train their clients to get better at crafting offers, surveying their market, doing all that sort of stuff, doing other things, but they're charging for that service. In our agency, we have training and we charge for that training. If we have to do training, it's 10 grand a day, 10 grand a day. And if somebody has to fly to deliver that training, they've got to book 2 nights accommodation and business class airfares, depending on how far they have to travel. So that adds another $2,000 or $3,000 to the cost of the $10,000 for the training. But the training is a product. We sell paid strategy sessions. Paid strategy is a product category. It's a client. When a client purchases paid strategy, they're purchasing a product. They're a customer. As soon as a customer spends $1 with you, they are a paying customer. So what can they buy from you? Can they buy a strategy session with you? Can they pay for consulting? Can they are they paying for management, which is what they should be doing from a recurring point of view, right? What extended product lines can you provide? Are there associated product lines that you can provide, right? So for example, we build relationships with channel partners in the marketplace and we say, hey, we're targeting the same market you are. What if we got together, marketed your product to our list and you marketed our product to your list, and we partnered up together and we'd share the profit, right? And that leverages sales dramatically. It also adds a secondary income to the business, right? So how do you retain your customers? How do you resell your customers? And how do you upsell your customers? Reselling your customers is making them feel happy about the fact that they're your client. That's reselling them, right? And reselling means, hey, you invest this, we made you this, right? Are we cool? We're good? Great. What else can we help you with? Increase their investment, increase wallet share. The more the client is dependent upon you, the more sticky they become. right? The more projects you work on with the client, the longer they're going to stay. They're going to choose you. You're going to get a lot more referrals that way as well if you retain your customers. Instead of selling a 3-month program, sell a 12-month program. And don't call it a contract. It's a business development program that is spanned over 12 months. And your investment in that program is $36,000 or $50,000. Now, there's 2 ways you can pay for that. You can save yourself 10%, pay up front, right? Or we will finance that for you, but you're agreeing to the 36 or the 60,000, right? That's what you're doing when you're working. If you call it a program, a project, not, hey, month to month we run Facebook ads, right? If you can do that, you can do month to month running Facebook ads. There's nothing wrong with that, right? People have clients for years that do that, but think about how they build that relationship. What you want to do in retaining and reselling, upselling, is you want to create an emotional connection between you and the client. When you've got an emotional connection between you and the client, you can stuff up a dozen times and they won't leave, right? So right now, I'm paying a cybersecurity company to protect my assets online, right? And I've been paying this company for, I've been a customer of theirs now for about 3 years. Now, when I first joined them, when I first became a client, they came in, showed what they did, what the capabilities were, how they protected my assets and what the risks were and all that sort of stuff. And everything was all plausible. And it was all, the value proposition was extraordinary, how much money, problems, things that they will save me from, right? Was all, the value proposition was there. And I bought. And when I bought, as soon as I bought, I got a thank you card, a handwritten thank you card that was signed by the cybersecurity team, right? There were 15 signatures on that card saying, we love the fact you've chosen us. We really appreciate you've chosen us to be a client. Hey, here's $30 worth of Starbucks coffee cards. Grab some coffee, give your team some coffee on us, right? Thank you for being a customer. So they gave me gave me 6 $5 Starbucks cards, right? To hand out to my team. I'm not, there's no disrespect to Starbucks, the behemoth that they are, but I personally don't like Starbucks coffee. But hey, I went to my team and said, guys, these are the guys that are doing our cybersecurity. Here, have some coffee, right? So they did a thank you. Now, 30 days later, I got another thank you. Hey, appreciate you with us. Here's what we've been working on. We've been phasing this in, putting all the systems and processing. Just want to say thank you for being a customer. And here's some more Starbucks cards, right? I got another $30 worth of Starbucks cards, right? So in 2 months, they spent $60 with me. In 2 months, they've said they paid, and that's the last Starbucks cards I got from them, right? I got a Christmas card. That was unusual, but they actually physically sent a Christmas card. I thought that was unique. Most of my other suppliers didn't say. I got a couple of Christmas cards and suppliers, but I got a Christmas card from a cybersecurity company. But that's all they did, right? First 60 days, a couple of things, communication. I get the report every month. I don't even read the report. I get the report every month, right? But here's the thing. I went and did a bit of a check myself. I thought, hey, you know what? They're supposed to be protecting my assets. I don't know why. I saw that we paid the invoice because we just paid automatically. The invoice, I just want to see what these guys are doing, right? And so I went and did a bit of a search. And then I found some risks, right? I found that there were some assets that were at risk online, right? And so I went to these guys and said, hey guys, I'm not the cybersecurity expert here, but it didn't take me very long to find some risks that we have on our assets that you're supposed to be protecting, right? And so unless you fix this problem, one of 2 things are going to happen. I'm going to sue you for breach of contract because this is costing me a lot of money, right? Or you need to do what you say you do, what I'm paying you to do. Right? They were very quick to respond, right? But here's what they asked me. They said, John, can you send me the location of where those risks were? They asked me, like, this is their job, right? I said, hey, I found some things that are at risk, right? They're all supposed to be protecting. And now they're asking me to go and give them what I found, like go and give them all the links and things that I found where we were at risk. Right? Rather than doing what they should be doing, they should have found the thing in the first place. And by the way, it didn't take me much to find. I did 2 searches and that was it, right? I found the risks, right? So then I said, dude, who's the client here, right? Why am I doing your work for you? So I did send them the stuff that I did there, but I'm paying you. Now, I've paid these people many, many, many tens of thousands of dollars. Many, many tens of thousands of dollars. I've never questioned their service once in more than 3 years, but I found something. And then I went, dude, you got to fix this. And they did. They apologized. They fixed the problem very quickly. And I said, listen, every now and again, I want you to speak to me. I need you to show me what the hell's going on, because I don't want to find this again. Because if I had let that go, I don't know how long that risk was open, right? I don't, like, this is 3 years down the track. That could have been open for a year. That means I would have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue because my assets were at risk, or I could have lost millions in revenue. And that was where I went, dude, I'm paying you. If you don't fix this, I will sue you for the loss, right? So they were very quick to solve the problem. Yeah. So they fixed it, right? And it's all fixed, and now they're reporting, and I'm getting communication, and they're doing their job, right? Now, the reason I'm sharing the story with you is they built that emotional connection and relationship right at the beginning of the relationship, and I've been with them for 3 years, and I've had one blip, a major blip in 3 years' time. Now, I could have gone, screw you guys, I'm leaving, I'm just going to go and hire another cybersecurity firm, but I didn't. I asked them to fix the problem, they fixed the problem, they were apologetic, they went through a process. Now they're letting me know what's going on, and so they're doing their job, they're delivering. So they probably could screw up 2 or 3 more times, right? And then I'd be going, look, I've got to find somebody else, right? But here's the thing. I have been a client paying regularly tens and tens of thousands of dollars 3 years in a row. Now that they've fixed me, I'm in there for another 2 years or 3 years. So they're going to make even more tens of thousands of dollars out of me over that period, right? So you can, if you build the emotional connection as quickly as possible, the first 100 days are probably the most critical days that you need to help your clients with. First 100 days. If you can't help them in the first 100 days, if you don't build that emotional connection, they're going to leave you. But if that 100 days, if they do build that bond and that emotional connection, they'll stay with you for years, right? So retain, resell, upsell as a component. The question you've got to ask yourself is, how do we build that emotional connection? How do we communicate? Because this is what most people do in the agency world. They get the client on board, they stick it to their team, they go boom. And the only time they talk to the client is when the client's upset. The only time they have a conversation with the client is when the client's upset. And when the client's upset, right, they're 50% of the way to losing a client unless they can fix the problem immediately. They're 50% away, half, 50-50, you're going to lose that client. You're going to be ending up losing revenue, and you might even have to give them a refund, right? Because you're not communicating, you're not watching what you're doing. I see agencies all the time that are doing set and forget, and they wonder why they lose lots of clients. They're constantly hiring clients, they're constantly losing clients, and this is where they struggle to grow. So fundamental in your business, how do you retain, resell, upsell clients? How do you build that relationship, right? Do you want your people to stay for years? You want people to refer you for years to come, yeah? Like I recently took up, when I got stuck in the pandemic, I took up paddleboarding. The reason I took up paddleboarding is I live in a beautiful part of the country. I've got a creek, a lagoon, and then I've got the ocean, like 300 meters down just to my right here, right? And so what better thing to do than to get some activity, get some fitness, go paddleboarding. It's really cool. So what I do, I went and did research on paddleboarders, found a company, had great product. What the guy did was he did the puppy dog clothes. He said, John, you want to be sure you got the right board. Here, let me give you a couple of boards. Go and try them out for a week. Let me know what you think. Like, I didn't even have to pay for it. I didn't even put a deposit down, nothing. Go and try this out, right? I know where you live. You took my license details, right? Didn't charge me. So go and try them out. Let me know. That'll give you an idea of whether or not you like this sport, and 2, whether or not this is going to work for you in terms of your comfort level to paddleboard, right? So a week later, I come back and I go and spend more than $3,000 on boards, right? And equipment and all that sort of stuff. And then here's what he does. Paddles are a very important part of the whole paddleboard process, because that's your weapon, that's your tool to paddle with. And there's so many different types of paddles, right? There's basic paddles for like $100, and you can buy paddles up to $800, right? Super light, super powerful paddles. Now, I didn't want an $800 paddle, but I wanted a nice paddle. So the guy says, listen, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll make you a paddle, right? I thought, what do you mean you're going to make me a paddle? I said, well, I've got paddles here, but we cut to the right length, the perfect length. We'll put the top on, so you don't have to do this adjustment thing, but it's perfect just for you, right? It'll cost you $50 more than the graphite one here that's really quiet, that's really light, the carbon graphite one. This is made of carbon graphite, but it's perfect for you, right? I'll make it up for you. Awesome, great, I'll take it. And then when I go to pick up the paddle, you know what he does? He gives me a bag, a very robust bag for the paddle that's actually made for the paddle, right? A bag. I didn't ask for the bag. Now, if I looked up the bag online, and the bag was $60 for the bag, a paddle bag, right? He gave me the bag. I didn't ask for it. He didn't charge me for it, but he said, listen, I want to thank you. Thanks for, trusting us. Thanks for buying the boards from us. And I just want to say, hey, look, we just want to protect, you want to keep this protected. If you're traveling around, you want to make sure that it's protected. I've put this in the bag for you. Thanks for being a customer. Now, if you're into paddleboarding, if I know my friends and I keep talking about paddleboarding, I'll go, where'd you get your paddleboards? Well, guess where I'm going to send them, right? To the guy who helped me out, right? I'm liking this sport, and I think I will evolve in this sport. And there's so many different variations of this sport that I'll probably end up buying a professional sport, a racing board, and start, using that board. And I'll probably buy another board that's just, the right size for the surf. And I'll probably buy other equipment. I might even take up foil boarding, right? Which is a foil, sort of hydroplane foil, raise up. I might even try that, right? Because the person looked after me. The retain, the resell, the upsell, right? Andrew, who owns that store, did an amazing job helping me. So how do you retain, resell, upsell your clients to keep them longer? Do you offer a 12-month option, right? Do you ask them to pay up front, minimize your receivables, right? Do you have a process that you survey, onboard, manage, upsell, educate, right? All those sorts of things. So those are the cool things, right? There are 3 ways that you can make a direct impact on your business. Number 1 way is how you acquire clients. Number 2 is the value, the revenue that you earn per client, right? How much do you charge? How much is the client worth? How long does the client stay, right? That's going to determine the revenue that you generate in your business. So the average dollar spend per client, right? If a client's paying you $3,000 a month, if your average client stays 4 months, then your client's value is $12,000. Every time you bring a new client on board, your average client is $12,000. If you want to make $100,000, you've got to essentially generate 8 clients, right, for the year, right? So you can literally map out your plan of the revenue that you earn per client, how much revenue you want that to be. That's going to determine how many clients you generate. That's going to determine how many leads that you need to generate, how many conversations you need to have. That's going to determine how many leads you need to go and procure from the market, right? So if we work to those numbers, the average dollar sale is a really critical number. And you want to make sure that you're profitable. And this is why your profit and loss statement is important. When you sit down with your accountant, the accountant sits and say, hey, these are your expenses. These are all your outgoings. This is the money that came in. Here's where you spend the money. This is where your salaries are. And this is what you're left over with. This is the gross profit. And here's what you've got to pay tax on. And here's the net that you're left with. Stuff that you get to keep, right? Where you don't have to pay tax. They're going to let you know. You need to know your margins, right? Pricing is very important. I see most people undercharge for what they do. They overstack their value and they undercharge for it, right? The reason why is because they don't value what they do. That's why they undercharge for it, right? You have the problem with value, not the client. So the average dollar is key. That second series, what are you charging? What do you make per client, right? Then what is the client worth to you? Then what do you want to generate as an outcome? Then how many clients do you need to generate? How many conversations do you need to have to generate that client, to acquire the client? And then where do you find the leads? You work backwards. It's a really simple math, it's a really simple formula. The third area is the frequency of the client, the longevity, the lifetime value. Are they paying every month? Are they paying every quarter? Are they paying once a year, right? And if they are staying with you, how long do they stay? Some people have clients for 10 years. Right? Some people have agreements and contracts that go for years, that they've locked the client in, right? So they have a lifetime value over those number of years. So these are critical numbers that you use to manage your business. When you can measure these numbers, you can use them to manage your business, right? So here are the basics. I'm just going to go through and I'm going to answer some questions here. This is it. This is where the basics are of our business. It's all we have to do. If we do these 8 things, if we do these 7 things, we've got it made. I'm going to just share these 7 things with you, and I'm going to show how I, in an agency, did these 7 things and why we generate the revenue we do. So if you do these 7 things, apply them. The idea is you answer these questions in relation to what you're delivering in the market, right? Number 1, what problem do you solve, right? What is the problem you solve for the market? Number 2, what is your offer to fix it? What is your offer to fix that problem, right? Next one, who's got the problem, right? Simple. So what's the problem? What's my offer to fix the problem? And who's got the problem, right? How do I get my offer in front of those people who've got the problem? That's the next piece in the puzzle. That's step 4. How do I get my offer in front of those people, right? Number 5 is, what is my process to demonstrate that we can help them? What is my process to demonstrate? So what's my sales process to demonstrate what we offer can help them solve that problem, right? That is number 5, right? Number 6, how do we deliver on our promise? How do we deliver? How do we do this, right? We've got systems, processes, teams, right? My fulfillment, somebody else's fulfillment. How do we deliver it? We need to answer that question, right? And then the last question is, how do we keep them paying for as long as possible, right? So let me go through the 7 questions that you need to answer for yourself. These are just 7 basic questions. If you can answer these 7 questions, you've got it made, right? You've got it made, right? Number 1, what is the problem you solve? Number 2, what is the offer to fix the problem, right? Who's got the problem is number 3. How do we get in front of them? How do we get that offer in front of those people? Engage, right? What is the process to demonstrate that we can help them? What is the process to show them that we can help them to get them on board? How do we deliver on our promise is number 6, right? And number 7 is, how do we keep them investing in our services for as long as possible? Now, I'm going to walk you through exactly how we did it for a niche in the market. So I'm answering these 7 questions, right, that I've just posed to you. And so this is just to demonstrate, when you've got it dialed in, what it should look like, right? So the problem is, for us, that we know that there are inefficient and ineffective systems to manage client relationships, to manage the attraction, the conversion, and more importantly, the loss, the dropout, the churn rate of customers. We know that's the problem in a lot of the market that we go to. I'm talking about the SaaS market, right? So what do we do to fix the problem? We build systems to automate each process. We build a system to manage lead gen. We build a system to actually manage leads in real time. And we build a system to automate customer service, so we minimize dropout. So our delivery is an integration of software that does 3 things. 1, manage subscribers, provide the opportunity to get those subscribers in. Number 2, when they're subscribers, we want to manage that relationship into a sale. So we're managing the lead into a sale. And number 3, to minimize the churn rate, what we've got to do is automate some of our customer service processes so that we're communicating, provide relevant information, being able to respond in a way that our clients get the benefit of what we do. This is going to help us to minimize the dropout rate, right, in the person. So that is our fix, our offer to fix, right? Who do we do it for? We do it for SaaS companies that have a subscription model or an enterprise software model. That's who we do it for. In our world, we're doing it for health-based SaaSes. So SaaSes that support the health industry, hospitals, clinicians, industry-specific groups. That's who we're working with. We're working with SaaS companies who are just in the health market, but essentially they're SaaS companies that either have a subscription model for their software or they have an enterprise version for their software, right? That's who we help, right? So how do we get the offer in front of them, right? Well, we email them, cold email them, we've LinkedIn them, we generate referrals. Referrals is a big one for us. We've done webinars and we provide videos for training, right? Those are the 5 ways in which we go out to the market to let them know how we can work together, right? So we cold email, LinkedIn as an engagement strategy, We asked for lots of referrals. We found referral channels that we could go to ask for referrals for within the industry. So we get lots of referrals. And then we did webinars to engage, to show our expertise and knowledge and understanding of how we solve the problem. We invited people to do that. And we provide lots of videos. We do videos where we say, hey, here's how you solve the problem of when customers complain about this issue with your software. Here's how so we would provide videos that were relevant to the problems of the market and the questions and the answers that we were providing, right? So how do we demonstrate? We have an invitation to do a discussion to see if they require, if they want to improve their efficiencies and effectiveness in relation to how they manage their leads and their customers and to minimize dropout rates. So we provide an assessment process, right? That's our hook. And then from there, we do paid strategy. So the first sale we make for a client is a paid strategy session. It's $5,000. So that's the thing that we're selling. The first thing we're selling is the appointment. And the second thing we're selling from the appointment is a $5,000 engagement. The $5,000 engagement in the sales process leads to a $125,000 engagement. So this is how we demonstrate, right? We take people through that sales process. We qualify them first, see if they're a fit, if they're ready, if there's something that will be useful to them. They know it will help them. From there, the next step is, well, you want to start the first step of mapping out this process to minimize the inefficiencies and the ineffectiveness of what you're doing right now, right? The integrations, right? Then we want to deliver the solution, right? We say, well, this is what our findings are. Here's our recommendations. You've got a couple of choices. We can either do option 1 or option 2. Or you can take this away, do this somewhere else, or you can have our team organize this for you. What do you want to do? The conversion rate is very high to an engagement from that strategy, right? So how do we deliver? Well, we have a team of experts and automation integrators in the software that we provide, which is Marketo, right? So we have people who know this system, who know how to do the integrations, who know to project manage the integrations, they know how to map out the process to help the client get the result. Right, that's how we deliver. We have a process where we map this out, and then we have a project management structure where we actually work towards phases and deadlines to deliver the solution to the client. That's how we deliver what we do, right? I don't deliver it. I'm not the fulfiller. We have a resource partner that does that for our clients. They do all the work, right? And we maintain that relationship, but that's how we deliver, right? So how do we retain, resell, upsell? Well, we can do project work, right? So we can do projects, we can do phases, we do training, we provide consulting, we provide ongoing support and management services. So the areas, the 4 areas that we generate revenue in our business is we can work on individual projects as a project structure. We provide training, so we can say, well, if you've got it and you're not using it effectively, let's train your people to manage it. So we charge for that as a product category. The second thing is to do consulting, right? Consulting is, let's look at the problem, let's solve the problem individually and charge based on what the value proposition, so we can provide direct consulting. That's a third product category. And the fourth product category, which is the one we prefer, is have us manage the whole entire system for the client. Right, that's the ongoing revenue. So that's how we answer those 7 questions that are critical to growing their business, right? So here's the problem, right, in our world. This is what the real problems are. Number 1, we're really not clear about what we offer, and we're not confident in the delivery. That's a problem, right? You need to get super clear. It's when somebody sees your offer, they go, yep, I want that. Or let me know more about that. I'm interested in that. That's something that would be useful. That's the conversation, or that's the trigger that you're trying to generate in somebody's mind when you're doing this. The second thing is the problem in our industry is we don't have any consistent way of getting leads to talk to and make appointments from. We don't really have a way that we're continually getting leads, right? That's a big problem, right? And the last one is the confidence in selling. Right? We don't have our sales process mapped out right. We don't have our qualification. We're not, oftentimes I hear this over and over again. Yeah, I keep talking to the wrong person, right? I'm talking to people who aren't the decision maker, right? My sales process is I put a proposal together and then they ghost me, right? My sales process is, they say they want to go, but they haven't signed the agreement and paid the deposit, right? So the confidence in the selling and the lack of sales process is a third issue that a lot of people face. So offer clear delivery confidence. don't have a consistent way to generate conversation appointments. That's the second big challenge for a lot of people in the market that you've got to overcome. And the third one is not being confident in selling. That's the third piece in the puzzle that people struggle with. Right? So if I was to map out what the ideal scenario would be, and that's essentially kind of what we're working on in Clients Unleashed. Right? I'm just going to put that URL. If you want to know how that works, just go to clientsunleashed.com. That's in the chat there. You'll actually see that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my iPad here, and I kind of want to kind of map this out in terms of what have you got to do? What have you got to get into to create the opposite of those three things that I've just said that are probably the biggest. One or all three things can be a challenge for most people in the business. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen here. So you should all be, give me a thumbs up, you can see my iPad. Right, I've got it. All right, so here's kind of what it looks like, right? So I'm just going to move that up here. If we were looking, and I like simple models or simple diagrams. So let's keep it simple, right? So the first one, we have the lack of leads, right? Right. The second one here is we're uncomfortable in selling, right? So comfort of selling. And the other one is the delivery fear, right? And so ultimately, there's any one of these three things are going to have an impact on your business. Any one of these three things, right? So what we've got to do is, I'm just looking at making sure that I do this correctly, is let's say on the other side of this, we want our leads, we want lead consistency. So we want leads and consistency. So we've always got leads coming in. We've always got new and fresh leads to engage in the market, right? And in being uncomfortable in sales, what we just had a natural and easy buying process. We made it natural and easy just to take people for a progressive step to buy, right? And then instead of being the fear of delivery, we've got a confidence, right? We're confident in delivery. So we go from a situation where we, instead of a lack of leads, we've always got leads, right? And then instead of having a convoluted sales process, we actually have a clear path to follow, the qualification process, to the way that we engage all the way through to the sales. And we've got the ability that we know that we can deliver results. So if we're promising something that we know that we can actually, we're confident because we understand the framework, the workflow to actually get that result and get that outcome for the client, right? There's a couple of pieces in this puzzle that need to be addressed. So we just need to, so in the lead generation, right, point of view, one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to connect. We're going to connect every day with our market. So we're going to, the one piece we're going to solve in this puzzle of the lead consistency is the capability to be able to connect with our prospects, our avatars on a consistent basis in the market. Right? We want to be able to do that. The second thing we want them to do, right, is we want them essentially to put their hand up. Hey, yeah, I'm willing to engage, right? We need to get them to put their hand up, right? And then what we've got to do is we've got to have some pieces that are indoctrinating a conversation. Some gives that people engage to go, yeah, I want that thing, right? Yeah, I'm interested in that. Hey, yeah, I like the idea of that, right? So we want to be able to comment, right? We want comments and engagement. right? That's the piece that we want to put into play. So if we've got the connections happening every day, the people putting their hand up, and we've got the ability for that communication, right? That's going to open the door to us generating leads on a consistent basis, right? In the piece over here, we have 3 pieces in this puzzle as well, right? Number one, the way that I'm trying to work this process through in Clients Unleashed is you're going to have a chat conversation. You're going to be chatting, right? People are going to be responding back and forth and going, great, so you need some help. How are you doing this right now? What's working, what's not working? And people are going to go back and forth, and they're going to go into a chat scenario with you. From there, what you want to do is you want to qualify them. So there's a qualifying process. So they book an appointment. We'll just put apps here. They book an appointment, right? So we'll qualify them, they book an appointment. That's APPS, right? And then from there, we want, right, to offer a strategy session. We qualify them, and we have a strategy session that we just naturally allow them to step into hiring us for our services, right? So delivery and the confidence delivery is 3 things. 1, knowing your niche, right? Number 2, the offer and the price. And number 3 is the framework. If you get these pieces right, if you've got the consistency of lead gen, and you've got the consistency of being able to converse, generate an appointment, qualify, and have a strategy where the client naturally walks into the buying zone, and you're targeting your niche, and you've got your offer and your price points that are relevant to the market, and you've got a framework to deliver those outcomes, and you're clear about that process, then you should be able to generate clients easily. You should be able to make between 3 and 5 sales per month with that model. 3 to 5 sales per month in that model. That's the model that I'm working on in Clients Unleashed. The lead gen piece, automated software, right? That engagement, targeting the right avatar and niche, all done through that process. The idea is that you're actually actively engaging people, in about 15 to 20 people who are wanting to actively engage with you. 15 to 20 people every day who are wanting to actively engage with you. First 2 weeks, the trial of that software is free. Then the minimum price you're paying is about $97 a month for that software, right? But that's the process that we're using in Clients Unleashed. For those of you who haven't seen Clients Unleashed, go to the website Clients Unleashed and everything explained there. There is a Facebook group. There are units already ready to go. You don't have to wait for me to provide you training. There's already training going. We're going to be releasing the lead gen system in this coming week for people to get started on generating those 50 opportunities every day that will turn into 15 to 20 conversations starters. And then I'm walking you through the step-by-step process. So there's no hours and hours of videos that you have to watch. Most of the videos, I think the longest video is about 15 minutes. But I've broken them down into very simple steps and exercises. So I'm actually adding to those units and trainings as you progress and go along. The idea is you follow the path, right? You get those things done right. So you know one of the first things we need to really know out is this area here. We're making sure that we're niche, offer, price, and framework. That's really important, right? Then we're going to move into lead gen, right? We've got the leads thing happening, and then you're going to follow a sales process. And ideally, you're going to close deals. But imagine having a process and a system that can deliver 3 to 5 clients every single month consistently. That's the goal of Clients Unleashed. So with that, if anybody has any questions, I'm going to stop sharing. I know a few people here. Raj is saying mobile app building takes about $2,500 one-time price, but it has a smaller recurring model. How do we go about it? Well, for starters, Rajesh, I don't know who you're building mobile apps for, and a $2,500 mobile app is cheap. So I know the mobile apps that I know that people are building, 30 grand, right? 30,000 for a mobile app. Support. You can build, like, okay, let's say mobile app you're building for 3 grand. Your support or your management of that could be $1,000 a month to manage it, because It depends on the strategy that the client has, right? What is the strategy that you're delivering with the client? That's the key. That's going to determine how much you charge. And by the way, I can't answer that question in this call. That's going to take a whole strategy process to go through. But you've got to really think about the value and the power of having a mobile app. It's not just the app. Like if you keep thinking about this $2,500, you keep thinking about the app is the thing. That's not the product, right? What you're selling is the result of the app. That's worth so much more. Because what about the tracking? What about the engagement? What about the push notifications? What about the offers? Who's going to do all that? Is the client going to manage the app that they don't know how to build? That's not going to happen. That has to be you or your team. That's where the real money is in the back end. That's where the client's going to say, hey, we're going to run your notifications. One part of the puzzle, one piece in the puzzle, right? That piece in the puzzle is, okay, we need to set up a push notification calendar. And then we need to find out what your information pieces or content or offers that you're going to do. So we have to craft and create that. You could charge $2,000 a month just to do push notifications, right? That's $24,000 a year. Plus the $3,000, that's $27,000 for one app, for one client, for 1 year. And that's one service. That doesn't include things like putting in content for live streaming. That doesn't include updating and making those things relevant to the market. There's so many things that you can do, Rajesh, to map this out for a client and be paid a very significant amount of money. You're looking at this from how much you get paid for the thing that you deliver. What you need to be looking at is what is the true work, what is the strategy that goes with this thing? The client will pay so much more for that because it's worth so much more. You know, I don't know, like I know app builders. There's a guy that I know that I work with, an app builder. He doesn't build an app for less than 120 grand. Right? He's building a full-fledged app, $120,000. Then there's management. There's monthly management of that application because the client doesn't know how to update the app. The client doesn't know what promotions to run. The client doesn't know how to put in live video streaming or anything other than that. The client doesn't know that. He has to rely on the developer of that app to deliver those services. So the client is beholden to that developer. An app in and of itself, if you don't touch it and just leave it as it is, then yeah, it is what it is. But there's no engagement. No one's going to engage an app that doesn't engage with them. Then the app will fail. They'll say, yeah, I've got a mobile app. How many people have downloaded it? One. What's the strategy to get the downloads? What's the strategy for the engagement? What's the strategy to generate revenue from the app? Why am I buying this app in the first place? Right? To say that, oh, you're building a relationship, well, what does that mean? Put some numbers to it. If you've got 1,000 people downloading this app and we did push notifications for an offer to 1,000 people, your worst case scenario is 10 or 20 people will buy something. Well, if 10 or 20 people buy something off a push notification, and we did that every single month, and you're selling a $1,000 item, that's $120,000 to $360,000 a year in revenue off your push notification. Is that worth more than $3,000, Rajesh? Right? That's what you need to be thinking. Kendall, you asked a question. Hey, I mentioned, sorry, I'll get to Chris's question. Chris, can I clarify how you finance a prospect? If you're asking a client, so let's say you've got a program, Chris, and you're selling it for, let's say it's $3,000 a month, right? You're doing Facebook ads and you're charging a management fee of $3,000 a month. $3,000 a month is $36,000 for a year. So what you say to the client is, we do a business development program, managing your Facebook ad campaigns, making sure you maximize your lead conversions, and your investment in that is $36,000. Now, there's two ways you can pay for that. You can pay $33,000 up front, so $15,000, or we'll finance that for you at $3,000 a month. What they're doing is they're agreeing to pay you for 12 months, right? So it's really what you have got on an agreement, on a contract, but it's not, what they're doing is they're not paying you $3,000 a month. They're sticking with you for a year. So you're selling a $36,000 business development program that happens to include Facebook advertising and perhaps lead management, if that makes any sense. Hopefully that helps, Chris. Kendall, thank you for your question here. I mentioned earlier that I have a pre-built presentation for Clients Unleashed, but do you also have recommendations? Yes, I have all those things in Clients Unleashed. Yes, you'll have pitch decks. You'll actually have templates that you can use to build other templates from. Like I actually give you icons, pitch decks. I give you working pitch decks. I think there's a couple of pitch decks in there. It's in the back end. So yes, I actually give you the presentation. You can apply them. There's one pitch deck that I give to people. It's called the Mr. Padlock pitch deck. Last year, the Mr. Padlock pitch deck closed more than $150 million in sales just with my clients who use that pitch deck. So yes, it is in there. There are some on Google, yes, but interested in whether you include versions with clauses. You can, like, your agreement should be relevant to your market, Kendall. That's the first thing. If you're going to do an agreement, your agreement has to be relevant to your market. There are plenty of services, so a few things like Rocket Law, Zoom Lawyer. What they'll do is, if you say you're in the state of Georgia, they'll put the terms and conditions relevant to an agency in the state of Georgia. And I think you're paying like $49 for a proper agreement. You know, having a templated agreement isn't going to help you, Kendall. Having a proper agreement, I do show you examples of that, but ultimately my agreement is not going to be your agreement, Kendall, because there are legal ramifications, right? You have to take into consideration country, state, sometimes city laws, right? You have to take in things like indemnity, errors and omissions insurance, those sorts of things. Those are considerations. So yes, you can get, I highly recommend that people actually go to things like Rocket Lawyer, LegalZoom, get an agreement done, and then get it verified by a lawyer. So for under $300, you can have a very succinct and proper agreement. Now, if you want to do the whole package, I think you can pay anywhere between $300 to $3,000 for a complete terms, conditions, your compliances, all that sort of stuff with a lawyer. So you can get those things. But for the interim, you can. There's no shortage. And yes, we have an example. But I would highly recommend that if you're going to use an example, that example is relevant to the laws of the state, city, country that you're in, Kendall. Because if you're just copying and pasting agreements off the internet, you may find yourself in trouble. But yes, to answer your question, yes. Versions with clauses, yeah. So go to a lawyer. You want to do this right. I would, if you want to do it cheap, use Rocket Lawyer or Zoom Legal. That's cheap, $40, $50 for an agreement. But then what you want to do is spend another $150 or $200 actually using their lawyers on that service to go through the agreement to make sure that it's compliant. So that way you've got a solid agreement, and then you can copy and paste that and use that as your standard terms of agreement. That's how I would do it. Mobile app is similar to Go Mobile apps. Well, that's just an application, Rajesh, but the back end of the Go Mobile app is much bigger. Your opportunity is bigger. It just depends on what you want to sell. Remember that piece of being super clear about what you're offering? That's what you need to map out. You're thinking the product is the thing. You're thinking the app is the product. That's not the product. It's the result of the app that you need to sell, right? Like, how does Domino's Pizza spend $7.5 million on building an app, Rajesh? $7.5 million on one app. And they've changed that app 4 or 5 times in the last 3 years, right? And you're talking about building an app for $3,000. Why would they pay $7 million for an app, right? Because they know that app generates more than $450 million in pizza sales, right? More than half the revenue that they generate is through that app, right? That's why they spent $7 million on the app, yeah? So it's not the product, it's the result. It's what the impact of that product is going to have on the business. That's where the strategy is. That's where they should be paying you more money. You need to think about what you're offering. Like offering an app, you can do that. You can offer apps left, right, and center. But if you sell the product, well, who fixes it? You've got to fix it. Then you've got to charge to fix it, right? So you've got to come up with a fee that you're going to charge. Yeah. Who's going to manage it? Are they going to manage it? That means you need to train them. Well, if they buy the app from you, now they're going to pay you for training. You don't do the training for free. That doesn't come with the price of the app, right? And $3,000 is really cheap, by the way. It's very cheap. Yeah. So yeah. Thanks. So is the agreement for the monthly payments that you refer to as finance? Yeah, it's just a monthly payment, but you're funding it. If they're paying you monthly and the deal's $36,000, you're being the creditor, right? If they're signing an agreement that you're working with them for 12 months, you're being the creditor by allowing them to pay monthly, right? So that you're financing the deal by them paying monthly, right? But you can ask them to pay up front. Yeah. Yeah, well, you have an agreement. I mean, you can use Rocket Lawyer as an example, Chris, but you have an agreement, and that agreement. So there's cool software around like PandaDocs. In PandaDocs, you can lay your entire presentation. You can put your presentation in there, and then below that, you can put your terms and conditions, the list of inclusions, your agreement, and then there's a signature section where people can click and sign in one document, right? And then below that, there's a payment link, and so you can do everything. You can do your presentation, you can do your legal agreement, and you can do your payment all in one presentation. Easy peasy, all automated. None of this sending stuff out. It's all automated in one hit. So I don't know what PandaDoc charges per month. It's like $40 a month or whatever, or $29 a month for their service. You can put all of that in one place. Or there's other services, I think there's like Proposify. There's so many different pieces of software that can do this automatically. But your terms and agreements you can have set in the presentation. One of the things that we do in our pitch is we walk them through the agreement, say, great, you like the idea of working with? Great. Can we walk you through how we work together? Well, this is our agreement on how we work together. We take them through, we don't get them to read every line item in the agreement, but we take them through the 6 components of our agreement. This is what we agree to, this is what we promise to deliver, this is what the risk mitigation is, right? What we do, great. So we sign here, boom, boom. You click the button, you sign there, boom, boom, boom. Great. Now we're going to do the initial installment. You got a Visa card handy? Yep. Great. So the initial installment's $8,000. What's your number? And then we just type in the number, press send, and they're paid. All in one place. So there's plenty of software that you can do that with. And your agreement should be set standard for everyone. If you start creating, options and options like bits and pieces, then in your agreement, have the options already done in the agreement. Option 1, option 2, option 6. So click the option you're going to buy. It's simple. You don't need to create 3 different agreements for 3 different options, right? It's just a paragraph. Option 1, program 1, program 2, program 3, program 3, this one here, boom. So it's all in one place, right? You don't have to create 3 separate agreements. They click the one that they accept, right? So that's an easy way to do that. I think this is too much and I need to think what I'm offering. Just keep it simple, Rajesh. Keep it really simple, right? Faisal, leads generated from Clients Unleashed program, can we target by location? No, it doesn't allow you. Oh, actually, you might be able to use it in the keyword. You might be able to use location of keywords. What you're doing, one of the things is you're targeting niches. You're targeting a particular person within a niche, right? So that's what you're targeting. So, you want a founder, you want an owner, you want whatever they call themselves who is a decision maker. So that's a targeting reference that you use in the targeting. And then you target the niche, right? You want to be picking people within a particular niche to target. So you want to do that first. So once you've done that, in terms of location, well, it depends. Like some groups that you're looking into are located just in the United States and nowhere else, right? But you'll find that out pretty easily. So yeah, I think there is a possibility that you can target, put the keyword of where they're located in the world. So that, yes, there is a possibility of doing that. I need to find that. I haven't thought about that. I've never targeted anybody location using that system. But I'm doing 50 a day. I'm averaging 15 to 20 people who want to talk, 15 to 20 people who are accepting. I'm getting 15 to 20 people who are accepting the initial outreach. And then I'm getting a whole bunch of people. Of the 15 to 20 people that I've been averaging, I get about 8 or 9 people almost immediately responding and starting conversation. So I'm finding the system is pretty cool in the process. I'm engaging people who, in our SaaS market, we're engaged. We don't care if they're working with a SaaS because most times the SaaS that they're using doesn't work or they're not working their SaaS. So our process is integrating with our solution for their subscription, for their client management or lead management to conversion and customer service. So we just happen to use Marketo for that. If they're using Salesforce, we'll do an audit. We charge them for an audit and we'll say, well, how's it working? So, how far into, how much money we spent, how far into it. They might not even qualify for us in the 3rd step, but we haven't had a problem in encouraging people to step over into Marketo for our solution. Does it make sense? Yeah. Any other questions? Happy to answer any other questions. Otherwise, I would highly encourage you, those who haven't, By the way, those people who are joining me, and there's quite a few people here in Clients Unleashed, there is a series that is going to be added to the portal that you're not aware of. It's actually quite a significant series that breaks down business functionality. That's going to actually be added inside the portal to your Clients Unleashed portal. So you don't have that yet, but that will be set up for you. So when we pop it in there, we'll let you know. So there are additional things being placed into the portal. There's lots of training resources there already, but what you want to be doing when you're in Clients Unleashed, when you join the Facebook group, do the units. I know, Johnny, you've already done them. Titus has done them. There's a few people who've already done the unit section. You're getting pretty ready. I want to try and get everybody through that first section as quickly as possible because I don't want to be piecemealing the lead gen. I want everybody to be generating leads kind of together. So that's why over the next few days, we're just going to make sure everybody follows through so that we can set you up for those leads. So yes. So any questions? I'll take another question. Otherwise, I'm going to say thanks for being here. I cannot believe I've been here for an hour and 45. I want to thank everybody who's been watching this live and giving me an hour and 45 minutes of their life. I appreciate that. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask a question here in the Zoom in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to say thanks for coming. Thanks, Faisal. Appreciate you being here. I'd love to see you in Clients Unleashed. Kendall, I would do that now. It doesn't matter. I will help you with that. On Monday at 1 p.m. PST, there are 2 live coaching sessions with me every week. On Monday, one of the first things we're going to get into is making sure you're super clear on the offer. Kendall, so I will help you with your offer. I will help you get clarity. I'll tell you exactly what you need to do, how to structure it, what the scripting is. All of that will be done in the live coaching sessions with me in Clients Unleashed. So, if you haven't refined it, that's the whole reason you're joining, Kendall, is to have me help you refine that to get clear. By the way, Johnny, can you do me a favor, mate? Can you unmute?
Yes.
Yeah. So, Johnny, just for the benefit of others, the very first section that I asked you to perform in the actual Clients Unleashed is to have that clarity piece, the framework, the structure. How was that helpful in how that was all set up for you to take the step-by-step process to build all that out?
It was absolutely helpful. It was really guiding in the sense that it was more of a linear path rather than me just kind of bouncing around and wondering what to do. So yeah, it was very helpful.
Yeah, because right now I know that you posted your framework, and when I look at it, I go, great, that you're super clear about this is what the problem you solve. This is the framework on how you solve that problem. These are the outcomes of when that problem is solved. Just even when you speak to, I don't know from your opinion, looking at how you went through that process and thinking that through, would that make your conversations a lot easier with prospective customers?
100%, because I filled that out twice. I did it the first time, and it wasn't right. So then I went back and did it again, and the clarity is much better. 100%.
And you feel confident? Like, do you sit there and go, great, I get what's got to happen here?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So thanks, man. I appreciate you sharing. And I appreciate you being on this journey with me for a little while. I know you've been getting results and getting clients, but I think you're really dialing this in. So I'm kind of super excited about what's going to be ahead of you, Johnny. But thank you for giving that feedback. So, so for those who are interested, like I said, I actually I've tried to keep the trainings really modest and succinct. And then what I've done is I've shown exactly the framework. So I say, this is what you've got to do. This first in that process, literally step you through. And that will help you to gain a much clearer picture of the delivery and the offer and how you're presenting that to a client in terms of the framework. So that's going to help you in that respect. But the reason why I'm doing the 2 calls a week on the Monday and on the Thursday, 1 p.m. PST, they are recorded, by the way. So I'm putting them in the 9th unit in the Facebook group. So you'll always have the recordings, right? but the idea is me to help you live unpack and clarify and get very clear. Because the whole idea is I want you to be having conversations with prospective customers, and I want to give you feedback, or I want to be able to answer your questions so you can respond in real time and improve your progress. This training that we're doing is kind of unlike most trainings that people have done. So Kendall, thank you for asking the question. But yeah, I would highly recommend you jumping in, because you're going to get a lot out of it. It's going to help you a lot. Grant, I'd love to be led into, you should, the reason why, okay, Grant, I'll make sure that you'll be led into the that Facebook group, Grant. The reason why you haven't been let in is you don't have a photograph on your, for your Facebook. If our team, if they don't see a photo, if there's no photo of a person, then we don't let you in. If you use a cartoon, we don't let you in. We like to deal with human beings and real people. We don't know if that's a fake profile, Grant. I'm not the person checking that. But if you have I don't check that. My team checks that. They don't know who people are, who are on the calls and not on the calls. If they see a blank no photo in the Facebook thing, then that person is not let in. If they see a cartoon, that person's not let in. If they see like somebody's put a company in there, that person. We want to deal with human beings. We want to know who we're talking to, and so so that's one of our criteria for letting people into our Facebook group is that if you have an image and we can see your face, we'll let you in. So that's why, Grant, you haven't been let into to Consulting Unleashed. My apologies. But my team is probably flagging you because of that. So thanks for asking, because I know you've asked a couple of times. I'm thinking, why haven't you been let in? I went and checked, and a team member said that you don't have a photograph. So thank you for asking that question. Is it better to work through leads we are working through, mate? Same time, Chris. Like. I'm going to give you opportunities you're going to create opportunities every day through this process. I would not hesitate. I'd join, right? If you haven't joined, join, Chris, because I'm going to be coaching you. I'm going to be guiding you through this process, right? People pay me a lot of money to do this, The investment you're making in Clients Unleashed is negligible. It's negligible, crazy, right? But if you want my help, I'll help you convert. A lot of the people we work with closely in our programs, I help them personally to try and convert those sales. I will show you exactly what to do. I'll help you craft your offer. I even craft email messages, campaigns. I've done all of that for the people that are in our programs. So Chris, I wouldn't think twice about it. Just join, mate. I'll help you out. So, unless you're in the middle of communicating with at least 20 people that are in the appointment phase, you need to join Clients Unleashed. You need to join Clients Unleashed. Yeah. So thank you for asking the question. I really appreciate you asking the question there, Chris. So if you haven't gone there already, the page, you can actually see everything in the page. Oops. That's it there. Happy to take another question. I was going to say thank you for being here. This has been awesome. So Grant, a photograph will let you into to the Consulting Unleashed Facebook group. But I'd highly recommend you join Clients Unleashed. This will be super cool for you. Kendall, love to see you in that program. We've got a whole bunch of other people who are already in the program here. Thank you for joining me. They've been jumping on live every day. I will be here tomorrow again, same time, same bat channel. I'll be sharing another topic. And then Monday, we're going to be into our first meeting on Monday, which will be very cool. So with that, thanks, Kendall. Yeah. As soon as you join the Facebook group, it lets you into the units. You can start straight away, get yourself ready. By Monday or by the middle of next week, we'll be going out there and chasing leads. Right, so you want to do those first pieces as quickly as possible. Won't take you very long, but it's going to get you really clear, very focused. I'll also help you with some of those pieces in the actual call on Monday, so that you make sure you get that done. And then, we want to get into the business of consistently generating leads. That's what we want to do. Thanks, Faisal. Looking forward to working with you, man. I appreciate you hanging out with me all these days. Jump on in. Looking forward to that. Thanks, Rod. Always good to see your face or your tile up here. I can't see your face, but I can see your tile. So good to see you. I know you've been with me here for the last 6 days, which is awesome. Happy New Year to everyone. If I haven't said that before, I really appreciate you guys hanging with me in the new year. But with that, I want to say thank you for being here. For those of you who are joining, make sure you jump in. Thanks, Rajesh. Appreciate you saying that. Always good to see your face here in the groups. But I will be here tomorrow, same time as that channel, if you want to join me. And then we're going to be kicking in Monday. Now, I've kept Clients Unleashed a fairly modest group. It's not a huge group. That means you can get more one-on-one time, personal time with me in this process. So, so I want to make sure that you're aware that you are not going to be a group of many, many, manys. I've tried to keep this really tight and fairly modest, but I'm looking forward to having you join me. Over delivering yet again. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. That's my name, Over Deliver Logar. Well, at least I try to make that my name. But thank you. Great. I appreciate you saying that. All right. Thank you for being here. I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to go and hop on my paddleboard again today. The weather is just amazing here, so I've been very lucky, and the conditions are cool. I'm going to spend some time on the water, and I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same bad channel. Thanks. And for those, welcome to those joining Clients Unleashed. Appreciate you joining. If you have any questions, I'll just give you my email. If you have any questions, just send me those questions right there to john@consultingunleashed.com. Happy to answer your questions if you have questions about Clients Unleashed. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you there, rocking, rolling. As I said, as soon as you join, you'll be get access to the Facebook group. In the Facebook group, there is a section called Units. It's at the top of the bar there. You hit Units, and then you go through those units. So you can literally take action straight away. Thank you, everybody. Take care. I will see you tomorrow, same time,